You keep complaining about the fire, but you are the one who happily handed them the matches. You walk through life with your eyes squeezed tightly shut, completely ignoring the massive, glaring red flags dancing right in front of your face. And then, when the inevitable disaster finally strikes, when the ground violently crumbles beneath your feet and you are left bleeding in the dirt, you have the absolute audacity to look up at the sky and ask, "Why is this happening to me? Why is the world so unfair?" Stop playing the victim. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a willing volunteer in your own destruction. The universe has been desperately trying to warn you. Your own primal intuition has been screaming at you for months, maybe even years. You felt that sudden, icy drop in your stomach when they spoke to you. You noticed the subtle, passive-aggressive disrespect. You saw the mask slip for just a fraction of a second, revealing the absolute monster hiding underneath. But what did you do? You politely looked away. You aggressively painted those red flags white. You convinced yourself that you were just overthinking. You wrapped their incredibly toxic behavior in pretty pathetic little excuses because you were absolutely terrified of confronting the truth. If you completely ignore the warning sirens, if you consciously choose to sit comfortably inside a burning building, do not ever blame the fire when it finally turns you into ashes. Let's dissect this hope you are so desperately clinging to. You genuinely believe that if you just give them one more chance, one more ounce of your precious energy, they will magically transform into the people you need them to be. What a beautiful, profoundly pathetic delusion. People do not change because you love them harder. People do not suddenly grow a conscience just because you constantly sacrifice your own boundaries for their comfort. Predators do not respect their prey. They only consume it. And right now, you are serving yourself up on a silver platter. You are a human shield, a convenient, disposable sponge for their emotional garbage. They dump their chaos onto you, they drain your spirit dry, and they walk away feeling perfectly light, while you are left completely crushed under the heavy weight of their mess. And you call this loyalty? You call this being a good person? No, it is psychological suicide. Every single time you say yes to them when your soul is violently screaming no, you are literally carving out a piece of your own worth and throwing it directly into the mud. They don't admire your endless forgiveness. They secretly laugh at how incredibly easy you are to manipulate. They look at your patience not as a virtue, but as a glaring, neon sign that says you have absolutely zero respect for yourself. People love to blame the system. They love to blame their toxic partners, their bad luck, the universe, fate. Because blaming an invisible force is infinitely easier than looking in the cold, hard mirror and admitting the horrifying truth. You allowed it. You opened the door. You invited the vampires in. You handed them the heavy keys to your mind, and you politely asked them to make themselves comfortable. Every single time you swallowed your anger just to keep the fake peace, every time you silenced your own intuition to make someone else happy, you were slowly, methodically digging your own grave. And now you wonder why you feel so incredibly dead inside? It is because you traded your raw, authentic power for a cheap, fragile illusion of safety. You traded your roar for a heavy iron collar. The most dangerous lie in this world is the belief that if you are just nice enough, the wolves won't bite you. The wolves do not care about your kindness. The wolves only care about their hunger. If you deliberately choose to swim in a pool full of sharks, knowing exactly what they are, you lose the right to cry about getting bitten. You cannot negotiate with a parasite. You either brutally eliminate it, or you let it consume you entirely. So what happens when you finally stop ignoring the warnings? What happens when you brutally snap awake and realize the game was completely rigged from the very beginning? I will tell you exactly what happens. It is going to hurt. It is going to feel like a physical, violent tear in your chest. Because accepting the raw truth means you have to completely mourn the fantasy. You have to accept that the people you loved so deeply were just characters you invented in your own desperate mind. You have to accept that the years you wasted, the energy you poured into a bottomless pit, are gone forever. But that pain, that agonizing, breathtaking realization, that is the ultimate cure. It is the bitter, highly concentrated medicine that completely flushes the sickness out of your system. The moment you stop lying to yourself, you become a terrifying, unstoppable entity. Because a person who has brutally faced their own foolishness, a person who has looked their own cowardice dead in the eye and finally said, "No more," that person can never, ever be manipulated again. You transition from being a soft, convenient target into a fortress of absolute, chilling clarity. You no longer hope for the best in people. You observe them. You test them. You let their actions speak loudly, and you turn completely deaf to their hollow, meaningless words. Let's talk about the heavy price of staying asleep. If you skip this realization, if you scroll past this truth and go right back to the comfortable, suffocating lies you have been living, I promise you one thing. You will spend the rest of your miserable life crying over the exact same betrayals. You will find yourself trapped in a continuous, endless loop of being used, discarded, and replaced. The faces of the people hurting you might change, but the devastating pattern will remain exactly the same. Because you are the common denominator. You are the one broadcasting the signal that you are willing to be abused. And until you violently rip that signal out of your own chest, the world will continue to send you the exact same lessons, wrapped in different nightmares. You must develop a ruthless, unyielding jealousy over your own time and energy. Time is the one currency you can never earn back. A billionaire cannot buy back a single wasted second. And yet, you are handing out decades of your life to emotional vampires like it's absolutely nothing. Imagine waking up 20 years from today. You look in the mirror. Your youth is completely gone. Your energy is entirely drained. And you are still surrounded by people who treat you like an absolute afterthought. That is the hell that awaits you if you ignore the red flags today. That is the ultimate cost of your cowardice. Do you know what real power looks like? It isn't loud. It doesn't need to scream. It doesn't throw a pathetic temper tantrum when it gets hurt. Real power is the chilling ability to look at someone who repeatedly abused your trust and feel absolutely nothing. No anger, no sadness, no desperate urge for revenge. Just pure, unadulterated, terrifying indifference. Indifference is the deadliest weapon in the dark psychology arsenal. When you truly, deeply stop caring, you become completely invisible to their manipulation. They throw a venomous insult, and it passes right through you like air. They dangle a fake, manufactured apology, and you look at it like a piece of cheap plastic. That is the state of mind you must aggressively fight to reach, and you only get there by walking through the fire of separation, by enduring the initial, agonizing withdrawal symptoms of their toxic presence. Every single day you wake up and actively choose not to reach out, not to check on them, not to see what they are doing. You are heavily reinforcing the steel walls of your own mind. You are slowly rebuilding the empire they tried to violently burn down. Do not mistake this heavy isolation for cruelty. It is not cruel to protect your peace with lethal force. It is the absolute highest form of self-respect. The world has conditioned you to believe that establishing strong boundaries makes you a bad person. But the world is heavily populated by manipulators who desperately need you to have no boundaries at all. When you draw the line in solid iron and say enough, the theater begins. They will aggressively spin the narrative. They will run to their little crowds and confidently play the bleeding victim. They will tell everyone how incredibly cold you have become, how arrogant you are. Let them. Let them scream until their throats bleed. Let them paint you as the ultimate villain in their pathetic fictional story. Because a villain in their story is a king in his own. You cannot let their fake outrage manipulate you back into the cage. Their anger is just a childish temper tantrum because their favorite, most reliable toy finally stood up and walked away. Your silence is going to absolutely infuriate them. You stand perfectly still, completely unbothered, and utterly unreachable. You treat their entire existence like a completely irrelevant myth. This is your final crossroad. The warning has been brutally delivered. The illusion has been completely shattered. The curtain has been violently ripped down. You can either close your eyes again, politely go back to sleep, and let the parasites continue to feast on your soul. Or you can step entirely out of the cage. You can embrace the cold, heavy, beautiful isolation of the truth. You can realize that you were never meant to fit in with the sheep because you were born with the instincts of the wolf. Stop blaming the world for the bites when you are the one constantly trying to pet the predators. Master your own mind. Draw your boundaries in blood and iron, and let the rest of the world burn in the chaotic mess of their own lies. The universe isn't going to save you. Nobody is coming to rescue you. You are the only one holding the keys to your own chains. So unlock them. Drop them entirely on the floor. Step into the dark and let them finally see the terrifying monster you had to become in order to survive. The choice is yours, but if you ignore this, remember, you have absolutely no one left to blame but yourself.